Welcome back everybody, I hope you're all doing real well. I'm going to engage in a little bit of internet punditry on this video. This is probably going to be the equivalent of like when Homer Simpson designs a car in The Simpsons.
Powerful like a gorilla, yet soft and yielding like a Nerf ball.
I want to talk about 5 guitar products that I would love to see introduced to the market for one reason or another. If you watch this video and you like it, please leave a comment and let me know what products you would like to see introduced on the market, and if any of these manufacturers happen to read the YouTube comments of an absolute nobody from Perth, Australia, then they might make them. I highly doubt it, but it should be a little bit of fun anyway, and it should be cool and interactive because I'm sure a lot of you guys have great ideas for products out there, and probably stuff that I would have never thought of. But anyway, I'm going to talk about the things that I have thought of. The first one, I'm totally stealing this from my buddy Ryan at Plagueside Studios. I was watching his video about the Cherrytone Gargoyle amp he got recently, and he sort of went on a little bit of rant at the end where he's talking about like, why aren't Marshall making amps like this? Essentially, why aren't Marshall making just like a straight up Jose style modded amp? You know, from the early to mid 80s, people have been modifying Marshalls to sort of like, you know, make them sound the way that people want them to sound, whether it's adding like post-phase inverter master volumes, or it's adding diode clipping, or it's adding the ability to select different bright switches. If you have a look at a company like Cherrytone, they're offering all of this kind of stuff. If you look at a company like Friedman, they're offering a bunch of takes on this at a very, very high price point. And Marshall's reaction is pretty much the Origin series, which are basically Marshall's take on a pedal platform amp, or the Studio series, which are lower wattage versions of stuff like the 2203. And that's all cool stuff. You know, I've tried the Origin, it's not a bad amp at all, but man, why is Marshall letting other people take their lunch? You know, just like a single channel modded 2203 with a bunch of switches on the front is going to satisfy a lot of Marshall fans. If it sounds anything like a classic JCM 800 or a Plexi, people are going to eat it up in spades anyway, especially if it's made in the UK, and especially if it's got that Marshall badge on it. But I guess for now, you can go to Cherrytone and buy those amps anyway. So this is not so much something that doesn't exist, because it already exists. Like I said, Cherrytone, Friedman, Metropolis, Splawn, they're already making these amps. But why the hell aren't Marshall doing it? Like, what? Who is telling Marshall that they shouldn't do this, or who's not there? So Marshall, get your act together and put out a made in UK pre-modded Marshall. I think the closest thing they've done was the old JCM 2000 DSL, or maybe the vintage modern, but it would be cool to see a riff on those kind of things. Again, I don't know anything about how these products sold. I'm an idiot on the internet, but that's what I reckon would be cool. Something that definitely already exists, just not in this form factor. I would love to see Fractal make a delay pedal and a reverb pedal, kind of in the format of like a Strymon Timeline or Big Sky. Having shot out the Timeline and the Big Sky against my AX8 and the AXFX3, it's kind of, there's nothing that those pedals do that the AXFX3 can't already do. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the multi-delay block. I've done videos about the multi-delay before. I've got a video coming out in the next week about the multi-delay. I think it's just an incredible block. While the AXFX3 is incredible, because I think anyway the amp modeling at the moment is untouchable. The effects are great. I love the form factor. I love how flexible it is. There's a bunch of people that are just never going to try that because it's not in their little, you know, convenient 3-stomp pedal factor. So that's something that I would just love to see more people experience, because I get so much musical inspiration. And so much creativity out of using that box, that I'm sure there's a bunch of other people who, you know, use real amps and use real pedals that would never get the chance to do this. So that's more of just like equal opportunity for all my guitar playing buddies that don't have an AXFX3 or maybe can't afford one. Something like a Fractal Delay pedal, or, you know, a Fractal Reverb pedal that also builds in their like Plex reverb and stuff would be mighty, mighty tasty. Indeed. Talking about form factors, going on from the Axe FX3, I use a Matrix GT800 effects when I want to use a real guitar cab with my Axe FX3. And Fractal have just come out with the FM3. In a lot of ways, the FM3 already does the delay stuff. If you want to, you could just load it up with multiple multi-delays, I guess, or multiple reverbs and use it as an effects-only processor on the floor. But I digress. Imagine having an FM3 and next to it having a Matrix pedalboard amp, sort of like the Seymour Duncan Power Stage. I love the way my Matrix sounds, but you know, to be honest, I only often use one stereo side of the GT800, so I'm sure Matrix could find a way to take that half rack space unit and, you know, give us 300 or 400 watts in a nice little pedalboard format that we could even mount underneath the pedalboard. Chuck an FM3 on top of it, or, you know, chuck an HX Stomp, or chuck a GT1000, whatever you want. Maybe chuck some Rev pedals on top of it, run it into it, and you've got an all-in-one pedal board that can push some serious air whenever you need it. So that would be pretty awesome from Matrix. Give us like a GT800, but on the floor. I'm sure it's possible. Come on, Matrix, don't let me down. I mentioned the Rev pedals as well. I recently tried the G3 and the G4, and I have to say, out of the two pedals, the tone that I liked the most was running the G3 as a boost into the G4. If you watch my video on it, you know that when I was doing it, I was getting pretty excited about it, and I was having a lot of fun playing that. So I think a pedal that would be super awesome, and I'm sure we'll see it at some point because Rev seem like a pretty cool company coming out with cool products. I'd love to see a G3 and a G4 in the same circuit, or if not, maybe like a G3 with a switchable boost, or a G4 with a switchable boost, because I think that G3 circuit working as a boost in front of either an already crunchy amp or, like I said, in front of the G4, just, it's like the ultimate metal distortion or hard rock distortion in a box. If you don't want to go down the modeling route, that's one of the best things that I've heard anyway. So yeah, a Rev G34 or G43 or G7, whatever you want to call it, that is something that I would like to see. And finally, I've kind of made all of these, they're all like pedals and amps, it's not so much guitar stuff that we're talking about, but I know Boss has like an announcement coming out in the next couple of days. I don't know anything about this, I just saw it on the gear page, but I tried the Nux tape core, which essentially takes like a Space Echo model like the Boss RE20 and crams it into a single pedal board, like Boss style pedal. So Boss, do like an RE2 or something like that. Like basically take the RE20 Space Echo, cram it into a standard Boss pedal enclosure. I reckon that thing would sell like hotcakes because, yeah, the RE20 is a great pedal, and the Nux tape core is a really great pedal, I think, especially for the price. So again, Boss, like Marshall, why are you letting somebody else like eat up what's going on? Like, come to market with this thing. The Wazacraft series of pedals have been very cool. You know, we've got stuff like the Dimension and the VB2, all these rarer pedals. So a full-on like Boss Space Echo emulation in a single stomp, I reckon would be a really awesome product, especially for pedal heads out there that like delay. So there's a little bit of internet punditry. Like I said, Homer Simpson designs a car. Who knows if any of these things would be popular? Who knows if they would in any way be economically feasible? But I'd definitely have a shot at all of those things if they came out, and they would make me want to spend my money on these products. I want to hear from you guys. What products do you think should be made? There was a bunch of other things, by the way, as well that I was thinking of, like the Mesa Boogie Tri-Axis. Like, imagine reissuing that, but with way more modes and in a 2-rack unit. But then I was like, how many people are actually realistically going to buy that? So I hope in this video these things all seem like realistic products that could happen. If anybody out there is listening and, you know, they want to employ old mate Leon as a consultant, you know, you can get my email. No one's going to hire me as a consultant. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching the video. Leave a comment, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.
Gentlemen, presenting the car designed for the average man, the Homer.